All right, so we live. Y'all hear me on YouTube? It's Friday night. We live. Y'all hear me? So we live on YouTube and TikTok. All right, I see one of my students is here. What's up? What's up? All right, so we live. We normally do it multiple choice questions as I promised in the previous videos. We're running through some popular multiple choice CSEC mathematics questions. How was the week? How are your exams going so far? All right, so let's go. Let's roll. YouTube, y'all hear me loud and clear? TikTok, y'all hear me loud and clear? All right. TikTok, y'all hear me loud and clear? All right, so let's go. All right, let's wire. So the question says at the end of the year, this one, at the end of the year, a car is worth 5% less than it was worth at the beginning of the year. If the car was worth 9,500 in December 2016, then its value in January 2016 was. So you want to know what was the original cost of the car. So to get the original cost of the car, we saw that 5% came off. So this price that you're seeing here is 95%. So to find the original cost, we can say 100 over 95 times this cost, which would be 9,500. So 95 was 95, 95 into this 95 is 1. So 100 times 100 would simply give us $10,000, which is simply B. So now as you come in, drop your answer, drop your answer. We're looking at this one now. So the cash price, oops, yeah. So the cash price of a television set is 350. When bought on hire purchase, a deposit of $35 is required, followed by 12 monthly installments of $30. How much money is saved by paying cash? So you want to find how much money is saved by paying cash. So we know for hire purchase, you pay down some money and then you pay some monthly installments. All right. So they want to know how much money is saved by paying cash. I think we did this one earlier, so we'll go through this one quick. So 12 monthly installments of $30. So this would be 30 times 12. This zero will go here. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 0 is 0. 2, 3 is 6. So you add up this, you get $360. And the deposit has to be added to this. This will be plus $35. This will give us $395 is what I paid for hire purchase. So if $395 is paid for hire purchase and $350 is paid for cash, so $395 minus $350 will give us this 5. 5 from 9 will give us 4. So $45, which is D. All right, so we're now on TikTok. Share the live. Tell a neighbor, tell a friend. It's Friday night and we're working maths again. Okay. So that's why the simple interest on $800 for 3 years is 54. What is the rate? What is the rate of interest per annum? So we're dealing with simple interest. So you know the formula for simple interest is PRT divided by 100. So the total of the simple interest is 54. So this will be 54 is equal to P, which is the money invested. So $800 P, so 800 multiplied by the rate, and that is what we want to find, multiplied by the time, which is 3, all over 100. So we can do some simplification. These two zeros will cancel out with this here. Since everything at the top is multiplying, we can easily cancel out at the bottom. And 8 times 3 would give us 24. I think 8 3 is 24. Yeah, 24. So 24 times R would give us 24R. And this is equal to 54. So the rate would be equal to 54 divided by 24. And I already can see this is not the answer. This is not the answer. It says either most likely 2 1/4 would be the answer, which is that right? Most likely. Somebody saying C now, man. Anyways, so 54. 2 can go into 54. 24 can go into 54 2 times. 24, 24, 48. That will give us a remainder of 48. Let me see, 54 minus 48. This will give us 6. So 6 over 24. So 6, 1, 6, 6 into 24, 4. So 2 1/4, which is B. All right. I mean, you could already, common sense would tell you that B is the answer, because we know it definitely could not have been A either. So let's go. For those of you on TikTok, I'm on YouTube as well. I'm live on YouTube. If you want, you can hop over there. So if the simple interest on $800 for 3 years is $60, what is the rate of interest per annum? So this is the same question that we got to the top here. Actually, no, this one asks us for $60. So let me go through this quickly. So SI is equal to PRT over 100. So in this case, the simple interest is $60. So 60 is equal to the principal, which is 800, multiplied by R, that's what we want to find again, times 3, all over 100. See, these two zeros will cancel out here. So 8 times 3 again will give us 24R, and that is equal to 60. So R would be equal to 60 divided by 24. This looks like 2.5 as the answer. So 24 into 60. 24 into 60 is, let me see, 24 can go into 62 times. So let me see, 60 minus 48. This would give us 12 remainder, so 12 over 24, which is simply be a half. So this is 2.5, which is B. So I'm working, yeah, as you can see, I'm working all the different kind of questions that can come like this, right? So if you see any question like this, you'll know what to do. It's not a paper, it's not a full paper, it's just a combination of these different topics that would normally come. So if simple interest online, so here's the thing. So everybody was complaining about the mock exam, not the mock exam, the actual exam, right? So by now you should be beating the paper ones, especially if you want to pass maths. If you're serious about passing maths, you should be beating the paper ones now, right? You should be beating the paper ones. So if the simple interest on 900 for 3 years was 108, what is the rate of interest? Again, so SI is equal to P RT over 100. So the simple interest in this case is 108. So 108 is equal to P. P is 900. So 900 times the rate times 3 all over 100. See, these two zeros will go with this here again. So 9 times 3 would give us 9 threes 36. 9 threes 36. 9 threes 36. 9 and 9. No, 9 threes 27. Whew. 9 and 9, 18. Yeah, 27. R is equal to 108. So R would be equal to 108 divided by 27. So this looks as though, let me see, by 27 times 2 is 54. 54 times 2 would give me 108. So this answer here should be B. All right, because 108 divided by 27 would give me 4. So R is equal to 4. All right. So the simple interest on a loan of 6,000 for 3 years was 900. What is the rate? So as you can see, these are the different ways in which they can bring rate. But either way that they bring it, it's the same thing that you have to do. So regardless of how they bring it, the approach will be the same. However you work it, that is okay as long as it makes mathematical sense. So SI is equal to P RT over 100 again. So the simple interest in this case was 900. So 900 is equal to the principal, which is the money invested. So 6,000 multiplied by R, which is all you want to find, times time, which is 3 again, all over 100. These two zeros will cancel out here. 6 threes, 18. So 18R is equal to 900. So 900 divided by 18 would be equal to R. So once again, I definitely know this is not the answer, this is not the answer, this is not the answer. I can see D is the answer. Common sense will tell me D is the answer because 18 can go into 900 way more than all these times. So 18%. Oh, my bad. So this should be 6,000 and not 600, right? Oh my. What did I do? Let me see. So let me check. Let me do this back. So 6,000 and not 600. This should be 6,000 multiplied by the rate multiplied by 3 all over 100. So these two zeros would go here. 60 times 3 would give me 180 R, and that is equal to 900. All right, so 900 divided by 180 is equal to R. So these two zeros will go. And 18 can go into 90 how many times by? Can't be 2, can't be 3. Most likely is C is the answer. All right. So 18 can go into this 5 times. 18 times 5, let me see. 8 5s 40. 5 1s 5, yeah, 90. So you can go into that 5 times. So here's the thing, folks. With a name like that, I'm definitely not coming to your school, the person that asks that, right? With a name like that, no, at all. Error, right? With a name like that, no. The person on TikTok that asks that question, no. Anyways, so in paper 1 for mathematics, no calculator. It's just your brain and, it's just your brain you're working with, right? No calculator. So let's go. A loan of 8,000 was repaid in 24 equal monthly installments of $400. The rate of interest on the loan was. So let me see. 24 equal monthly installments was 400. So at the end of 24 months, they will pay. So 400 multiplied by 24 Is zero here, 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 0 is 0, 2 4 is 8, 4 times 0 is 0, 4 times 0 is 0, 4 4 is 16. So when I add this now, I'll get 9,600. So this is the money paid back after 24 months. TikTok, y'all hear me? I'm seeing something pop up on the screen. Just let me know if y'all hear me on TikTok and on YouTube as well. Just let me know if you hear me on TikTok, let me know. I'll take that as a no. You hear me on TikTok, folks? Let me know. Oh, I guess TikTok has the issue. Anyway, so we're on YouTube still, so I'll work with the YouTube. So 9,600 is the 9,600 is the extra money. So to find the rate, so 9,600 is actually full money, not the extra money. So the extra money that was repaid would be 9,600 minus 8,000. This would give us 1,600. So this is the extra money that was paid back. So they want the rate of the interest on the loan. So the rate would be 1,600 over 8,000 multiplied by 100. This zero go with that zero, this zero go with that zero, this zero go here. 8 ones 8, 8 into 16, 2. So this here would be 20%, which is D. All right, let me end this live on let me end this live on TikTok and restart it. Yeah, YouTube, give me 1 second. Let me just end this live on TikTok and restart it. If they change up the paper, you just have to use your brain. Even if they changed up, the questions will still, they will still the same approach and so on. You just gotta apply yourself. All right. So I guess it's TikTok has the issue. I'm trying to end the live. Drop the answer for this one by the time. YouTube. All right, so while that loads on TikTok, let me go. So the simple interest, the simple interest on 600 for 4 years at 5% per annum is, so we know simple interest is equal to PRT over 100. Anyways, so the simple interest would be, so the P is 600. This live is still sticking on TikTok. Wow. TikTok, the live still sticking. Anyway, so 600 times the rate, which is 5 times the years, which would be 4 over 100. So which one got that? 600 times 5 times 4. So A has that. You are really A. So y'all hear me loud and clear, TikTok? I take that as a no because it's, oh, okay. Okay. So let's roll. So if 7,000 is borrowed at a rate of 5% per annum for 3 years, then the simple interest is, so simple interest is equal to PRT over 100. So the simple interest would be P. So it's 7,000 is borrowed. So 7,000 times R. So the R would be 5 times 3 over 100, not 1,000, 100. So these two zeros would go here. 7 times 5. Maybe you don't have calculator, it's just your brain, right? It's just your brain that you wire it. So 7 5 7 5 7 7 7 7 7 2 is 4 7 5 is 35, I think. 35 times 5, 35 times 3. This will give me 3 5 is 15. 3 3 is 9, 9 and 1 10. What am I doing? So this is 350 times 3. So 3 times 0 is that. 3 5 is 15. So 5 here. 3 3 is 9, 9 and 1 10. So 1,050, which is D. All right, trying to end this live on TikTok. Let me end. I'm not sure what's going on TikTok. So next one, dress costs $180 is being sold at a discount of 10%. The amount of discount is, so these questions you want to run through. These are beautiful and easy questions. So 10% discount. They want to know how much is the discount. So this is 10 over 100 times 180. There's zero, go with that zero. There's zero, go with that zero. So obviously the discount would be 1 times 18, which is 18. So the discount here would be C. I think we did this one just now. Actually, no, we didn't. So the simple interest on $600 for T years at 5% per annum is 120. The value of T is, so the value of T, so T is T years, right? So you can put the same simple interest formula. Simple interest is equal to PRT over 100. So the simple interest is 120. So 120 is equal to the principal, which is the money invested. So in this case, the money invested is 600. So this will be 600 times the rate, which is 5%, times the time, which is T, over 100. So they want the value of T. So to get the value of T, we got to take over this 100. We're not solving this here in this case. So this will be 120 times 100. We can carry over this one time. This will divide. All divided by 600 times 5 is equal to T. So 120 times, so we got 100 times 120, which is the same thing. All divided by 60 times that, so that answer there is A. I'm really trying to end this live on TikTok. It's sticking. So Mrs. Runes has US $200 to change to TT. The bank gives her TT $6.2 for every 1 US and charges 2.50 TT dollars for the transaction. So she got 200 US and she want to change it to TT. So to convert this to TT, we need to multiply it by the exchange rate, which is 6.20. So we can say 200 multiplied by 6.20. So we can just jump this here to the end. So we can say multiplied by 620. We can do 62, doesn't matter. So 0, 0. So 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 2 is 12. And I put a 0 for the 0. So 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 2 is 4. Now you multiply everything by 6 now. So 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 2 is 12. And then we add up everything. So all zeros, and there's 2 here, 4 and 1, 5. Bring down the 2, bring down the 1. And then remember we jump out the point 2 times, so we gotta bring it back in 2 times as well. So this is how much money she would receive after she done exchange. But remember, she's charged $2.50 for the transaction. So we gotta minus $2.50 from this. So minus $2.50. So we can add in a 0.00 here. 0 there, so we can borrow 1 there. This becomes 10, so this will be 5. You can borrow this, it becomes 4 and 1. So 11 minus 2 would be 9. Bring down the 4. Like I do something wrong. Like I multiply wrong. Well, let me see. Let me see the maths. And this is the thing about these paper one questions, right? Let me see something. All right, so I do something wrong. I multiply something wrong. So let me see. 0, 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 2 is 12. Okay. 2 times, so you bring down a 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 2 is 4. All right. And why did I know this? This is absolutely wrong. What did I do there? So we add these two together. 0, 0, 4, 2, 1. So you're bringing back the point now. We get $124.00. I have no idea what I did just now. I have no idea why I did that, what I did just now. That was crazy. And that's the thing about these multiple choice. That is why I always tell students multiple choice. I would say they're harder than structured question. Either multiple choices, either right or wrong. One simple mistake and all your marks gone. So you got a minus 2.50 from this. So this is easy. So we know this will just give us 3750. So the answer here is A. So you got to be careful, right? These things, absolutely easy stuff, but it causes you to concentrate, not to make simple mistakes like what I did just now. Absolutely easy, simple mistake I made. So you need to be careful with these kind of questions, eh? Need to be very, very careful. Guys, it's true that we have to do back paper too. Ganesh, don't make me block you by talking nonsense, right? You don't have to do back any paper two. There's absolutely no reason for you to do back paper two. I would advise you and all the students out there, focus on the future. The paper two is gone. All right, the paper two is gone. No thinking about the past. There's nothing happened to the paper. The paper wasn't leaked. There isn't any issue. Anyway, so FTT. Anyways, so if TT $6 is equivalent to US $1, and TT $15 would be, so this would be 15 divided by 6, eh? Divided by 6, however you want to do it. So 6 can go into 15 two times. So we already see the answer is C. You don't need to go any further because definitely not this, definitely not this, definitely not this. So there's this thing, more multiple choice as well. You don't need to go forward. Next one, the exchange rate for one United States dollars is $2.70 EC currency. What is the value of US 4.5 in EC currency? So we got US 4.50. I want to convert it to EC. So we see the exchange rate is 2.70. So we got to multiply this by 2.70. Remember, you don't have any calculator. So you got to multiply. So we can move this zero, move these zeros to the end. So we jump out 2 times for both. So this will be 450 multiplied by 270. Remember, this is the kind of multiplication you have to be doing. So put a 0 there, put a 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 and 1, 9. So you put another 0 in place of the 0. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 fives 35, I think. 7 fives 35. Let me see. 5 fives 25. Yeah, 35. 7 fours 28. 28 and 3. 28 and 3 would be 31. So we put in the whole 31 there. And then we add those two together. 0 go here. 0, 1, 3, 9. How am I to do here, man? Let me check back this way. 0, 0, 2 times 0 is 0, 2 5 is 10, 8, 0 here, 7 times 0 is 0, 7 5s. All right. So 0 here, 7 times 0 is 0, 7 5s to the 5. Bring in the 5 there. 7 4 is 28. 28 and 3 to the 1. All right, so once again, simple mistake again. Simple mistake again. So 0, 0, 5, 1. This here will give you 12. So we jump out 4 times. So we got to jump in back 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the answer is 12.15, which is D. The only thing that wrong with table 2 is that we did a lot of super mistake. All right, you said it, not me, right? Who was it, Mariah? You said it. All right, so how we looking? How we looking so far? We gotta be grilling these paper ones, right? We gotta be grilling them. So you see how I could easily make mistakes with these things here, and that is why you gotta keep drilling them and practicing them, right? Don't take them for granted at all. Students take these things for granted and think that, oh gosh, it's paper one, so it's easy marks. What? Paper one is either right or wrong. All right, so we done with that. Look at some algebra now. I don't know, but I genuinely dislike those kinds of questions that we did just now because of the amount of calculation, right? Genuinely dislike them, right? A lot of calculation. Somebody say we kill the pig. All right, so going back live on TikTok. I think I sorted out the issue. All right, so I'm back. I'm going back live on TikTok. I think the issue was sorted. All right, so let's go. So 1 over 5x plus 2 over 3x is equal to, so 1 over 5x plus 2 over 3x, right, 3x. So yeah, I already know this is not the answer. I already know this is not the answer. Thing is, I already know this is not the answer. This should be the answer, just by looking at it, right? But let's work it out though. So we got to find the LCM of 3x and 5x. So we find the LCM of 5 and 3. So the LCM of 5 and 3 is 15. And then we find the LCM of x and x. LCM of x and x is simply x. So 5x divided by 15x would give me 3. So I multiply that answer by the top there. 1 times 3 is 3. 3x divided by 15x is 5. So I multiply that answer at the top here. So this will be plus 2 5s 10. So 3 and 10 would be 13 over 15x, which is simply D. All right, simply D as the answer. And then we got a next one here, which is very similar. 4 over 5x plus 2 over 5x. So in this case, you see we have 5x and 5x as the denominator. So the denominators are the same. So all we do, we put back the denominator, which is 5x, and we add the numbers at the top. So 4 and 2 would give us 6. So this answer here is 6 over 5x, which is simply A. So when the denominators are the same, you see how CXC wicked? all enough students would go and add 5x and 5x, and then they go put 10x, and then they add it up, and they get 6 over 10x, and the marks gone for channel. So the answer is A. So TikTok, y'all hear me now loud and clear? Fix the issue. Let me know if y'all hear me loud and clear and you're seeing everything. All right, so yeah, so as you come and share the live, we back. We had some issues just now. YouTube, are we looking for this one? Given that 3 star 6 is equal to 12 and 2 star 5 is equal to 9, then A star B may be defined as okay, good. So for this one here, you want to see which one of these here will define these relationships that you have at the top here. So I would say simply do trial and error, and I think the answer is the last one. So let me try the last one. I think it's either the last one or C. So 2A plus B. So let's try that one. So 3 star 6 should give me 12. So let me see if 2A plus B, if I work with that and get 12. So this 3 is A, so this will be 2 times 3 plus 6. So 2, 3, 6. 6 plus 6 is 12, so that works out. So let me see if 2 star 5 will give me 9. So this will be 2 times 2 plus B, which is 5. So 2 is 4, 4 and 5 would give me 9. So indeed that checks out and that checks out. So the relationship is 2A plus B, which is simply D. All right, D is the answer there. All right, so YouTube, I like how we're looking on YouTube, man. Pick up yourself, Danish and Francis and Zidane and Mariah and Trip. All right, so let's look at this one. John has X marbles. Max has twice as many marbles as John. Max gives John 5 of his marbles. How many marbles does John now have? So we see John got X marbles. So John got X. And Max has twice as many, but we don't really care about Max marble. So Max gives John 5 of his marbles. So John had X marbles for us and he got 5 more. So we add 5 to the ones he had. So how many marbles does John now have? X plus 5, which is simply B. All right. Well done, Miss Marco. Why everybody saying C? C? John has X. How many marbles does John now have? Yeah, my X plus 5. Why you saying what stories? Yeah, careful. Careful, right? Careful, YouTube. Yeah, say C. Why not C? So John has X marbles. Max has twice as many marbles as John. So John started off with X marbles. Max has twice as many marbles. We don't really care about Max marbles. So Max gives John 5 of his marbles. So John started off with X and now we get 5 marbles. So how many marbles does John now have? John has X plus 5 marbles, right? X plus 5. Come on, folks. Yeah, careful. We can't say in paper one we trust and be giving away easy marks like this, right? We can't say paper one we trust. So I'm assuming persons try to memorize this here, but you gotta read the questions carefully, right? If you want to memorize the answers, you gotta memorize. I would say memorize how to work the question, not really the answers. Anyways, so I think there's a similar question to this. That is why. So paper one we trust, but we still gotta read the questions, right? You don't want to come out and say, oh, the questions repeat, and then they had a slight change, and you end up like that. So nevertheless, so I say they read Max instead of John. Okay, okay. So if 5 open bracket 2x minus 1 close bracket is equal to 5, then x is equal to, so 5 open bracket 2x minus 1 is equal to 5, and x is equal to, so we can either distribute this 5 or we can take over 5, but let's distribute it since that's how we know to work it. So 5 times 2x would give me 10x, 5 times -1 would give me -5 is equal to 5. So 10x is equal to, we carry over this -5, it become +5. This would be 40. 5 plus 5 is 40. So x would be equal to 40. This 10 is multiplying. Take it over to divide. So x is equal to 4, which is simply D as the answer. All right, this one here now. 7 times the product of two numbers A, B may be written as, drop this for me quick. 7 times the product of A, B. Seven times the product of A, B. All right, so the product of AB will be AB, obviously. 7 times that would be 7AB, so it's simply A is the answer. Remember, share the life there, friend. Nothing better to do on a Friday night, especially if the paper 2 beat you up, right? We gotta drill these paper ones. So item 30 refers to the following diagram of a trapezium. So we know it's a trapezium. So the trapezium with height h has an area of x squared cm squared. The equation that may be used to find the value of x is, so we know the formula to find area of a trapezium is half the sum of the parallel sides, which is a plus b, times the height. So in this case, it told us that the area is x squared. So we can say x squared instead of the area is equal to half the sum of the parallel sides. So the parallel sides would be 2 plus x minus 4. Put that in bracket if you want. What is a plus? So it won't really change anything. So times the height, which is h. So we can say x squared will be equal to, so 2 plus x minus 4. If we put it -4 and the 2 together, so 2 minus 4 plus x. 2 minus 4 would give me a -2 plus the x. So I can say x minus 2. This is the same thing. So when we work on the bracket, I'll have x minus 2 times the height. So let me see, you got any that looks like that? So I can multiply the height and the half. So half times the height would simply give me h over 2. So this is h over 2 multiplied by x minus 2. Let me see, any looks like that? Yeah, a. So x squared is equal to that. All right, so we just needed to do some simplification. All right, this one here, nice and easy. Sorry, I could use you as a calculator in CSEC Maths. So if 3n is an odd number, which of the following is an even number? My brain as a student, I would say, all right, if 3n is an odd number, do I know any odd numbers? I would just say, 3. 3 is an odd number. Which of the following will be an even number? So I say if I minus 1 from 3, that will give me 2, and 2 is an even number. So I already know this here is an even number. And if you got an even number 3 and you add 2 to it, I'll get 5. So that is not even. If I minus 2, I'll get 1, and that is not even. And if you ever work with this piece, I will not get I will not get an even number, right? So A is the answer here. If calculators were allowed in paper 1, I'm telling you, would have passed. Now, if calculators were allowed, they would have made it harder, right? So A is the answer here. 3n is odd. Of course, if you want to turn to an even number, that's -1. Common sense, right? So let's look at this one. The determinant of the identity matrix is this one is one that determinant of the identity matrix is simply 1. Right? This is a very popular question. The answer is 1. I think the identity matrix is 1, 0, 0, 1, I think. It's 1, 0, 0, 1. Yeah, man. I think it's this. 1 times 1 is 1, 0 times 0 is 0, so 1 minus 0 is 1. So this is the determinant. So it's 1. Let's look at this one here now. It's 23-4, so the following diagram of parallelogram in which EF is parallel to HG and EG is parallel to FG. EF is equal to K and EG is equal to M. EG in terms of K and M is, so EG would be from E to G. So from E to G, we can see we can go from E to F, which will give me K. Plus, I can move from F to G, which is simply be M, since that is parallel. So plus M. So K plus M, that is the answer there. Nice and easy. Nice and easy, Mark. How are we looking at YouTube? How are we looking at TikTok? So if the vectors P and Q are 3, 2, respectively, then P minus 2Q is, so we know this is P and this is Q. So P minus 2Q would be 3, 2 minus 2 times -1, 4. So this will be 3, 2. So I can multiply 2 by everything here, minus, so I can say 2 times -1 is -2. 2 times 4 would be 8. So now I can work this out. Top piece will be 3 minus -2. And the bottom piece will be 2 minus 8. All right, so this will be 3 minus -2. This will be the same as 3 plus 2, which will be 5. 2 minus 8 would be a -6. So 5, -6, which will be D. How are we looking there? All right, good. So 3,800 mm expressed in meters is, so we want to convert millimeters to meters. So we know the mnemonic. Many Chinese died, many days Hong Kong. As far as M is mm. So you want to convert from millimeters to meters, 1000. So we see we dividing by 1,000. So this will be 3,800 divided by 1,000. This 0 go with that 0. This 0 go with that 0. This 0 bring this back here. So this will be 3.8. So 3.8, it's simply B as the answer. And then they ask similar question again. Given that 1 millimeters is equal to 1 over 1,000 meters, then 2,500 millimeters in meters is, so this will be the same as 2,500 divided by 1,000. This 0 go with that 0, this 0, that 0, this 0, bring this back here, so 2.5, which is simply B again. Let me see, same thing they asked us at the top here, no. But similar approach. Then they ask you again the same question in a different way. 250 millimeters expressed in meters. As you can see, the top here, they gave you the conversion. Then in this one here, they just ask you to convert it without giving you the conversion. All right, so this will be 2,500 divided by 1,000. We know this answer will be 2.5. So the volume of a cube whose edge is 6 cm long is, so 6 cm long, we're dealing with a volume, so it's 6 times 6 times 6. So 6 times 6 is 36. 36 times 6, that would give me, I know it won't give me 18. I know it won't give me this. I definitely know it won't give me 72. So by common sense, I know the answer is D. Let me work it out though. 6, 6, 36. 6 will go here. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 and 3 would give me 21. So 216 cm cube. I already see a lot of people telling me B on TikTok and C. So it's not 6 times 3, folks. It's not 6 times 3 at all, right? It's 6 times 6 times 6. Right? Careful. Careful, careful. So a very similar one now, the volume in cm cube of a cube of edge 3 cm would be, so volume again would be 3 times 3 times 3. Some people would while up and go and say 3 times 3 times 3 is 9, and they while up. And then they come out and say the exam was easy, the exam was easy. But you gotta be careful, right? So 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 would be 27, which is simply C. So once again, a very similar one. The volume of a cube with edge 10 cm is, so 10 times 10 times 10. 10 tens 100. 100 times 10 would be 1,000. Now this one here now, change it up a bit. The length of the edge of a cube that has a volume of 27 cm cube is, so in this case, they give us the volume and they want us to find the length of one side. So we basically got to find the cube root of 27. And we definitely know the cube root of 27 can't be 9, can't be 6, can't be 4.5. We obviously got to be 3. Because 3 times 3 times 3 would give me 27. So the answer here is simply A. Cube root means what can you multiply by itself to give you 27? What can you multiply by itself 3 times to give you 27? All right. So we're running through these here, boy. So this item 34 refers to the following diagram, which shows a cylinder with diameter 6 cm and height 20 cm. The volume in cm cube of the cylinder is, so we know to find the volume of a cylinder, it's pi r squared times the height. All right, so the volume would be pi. The pi is included in the answer, so we'll leave pi. So pi multiplied by r. So some people would while up and go and put r as 6, but r is the 6 here is the diameter. So r will obviously be half of that, which is 3. So this is multiplied by 3 squared. So we can say 3 times 3 multiplied by the height, which is 20. So 3 3 is 9. 9 times 2 would be 180. 180 times pi would be 180 pi. So the answer here is A, 180 pi. Similar one. Item 37 refers to the following diagram. So the diagram above, not drawn to scale, shows a cylinder of radius 3 cm and height 8 cm. The volume of the cylinder is, so once again, in this case, it gave us the radius as 3. So we can say volume is equal to pi r squared times the height. So the volume is equal to pi. So pi is included in the answer, so we leave pi. And remember, it's multiple choice, so they won't ask you to calculate with pi unless something will cancel out somewhere or the other. So r would be 3. So r squared would be 3 squared, which would be 3 times the height, which is 8. This would be pi multiplied by 3 3s, 9. And 9 eighths, or 8 times 9 would be 72. So 72 times pi would be 72 pi, which is simply C. Will these be posted now? We live on YouTube as well, right? I don't know where it will be posted, but it's live on YouTube. Right? It's live on YouTube, so you can go over to YouTube and watch it back if you want. Item 33 for us, the following diagram, which shows a cylinder with diameter 6 cm and height h cm. If the volume of the cylinder in terms of pi is 180 pi cm cube, then the height of the cylinder is, so the volume is equal to pi r squared times the height. So they told us that the volume is 180 pi is equal to pi times, in this case, the radius would be 3. This would be 3 times 3 times the height. That is what we want to find. So 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times pi is 9 pi times h is equal to 180 pi. So the height would be equal to 180 pi. So this 9 pi is multiplying. Now you obviously take it over, it will divided by 9 pi. The pi will cancel out. And 9 ones 9, 9 into 18, 2. So 2 and a 0 will be 20. So the height is equal to 20, which is B. And if you want, you can plug this in your calculator, because you don't have calculator, but plug it back into the equation and see if you get back the answer. So it's like I gotta block some people. How do you block on TikTok live? Let me see. Chris, that's sending those emojis. Block. All right, enjoy. Not sure. I think you're on the wrong live, Chris. Right, you're on the wrong live. Not sure. Not sure what you're doing here. You're on the wrong side of TikTok. This is the this is this is the education side of TikTok. Right, you're on the wrong side. Right? Crazy, man. Ah, the wrong side of TikTok. Wrong side. Right? All right. So a rectangular garden plot 15 meters long and 12 meters wide is used to plant fruits and vegetables. If 80 meters squared of the plot is used to plant vegetables, what area of the plot is planted with fruits? So we got this rectangular plot, and so 15 times 12 and 80 meters squared is used to plant vegetables. Then the remaining area will be used to plant fruit. So the area will be 15 meters times 12 meters. Remember, no calculator, so we got to do this the primary school way, the traditional way. 15 times 12, so put a 0 there. 1 times 5, 1 times 1, 2 5s 10, 2 1s 2, and 1 3. So 180 is the total number of total area of the whole thing, 180. And out of this 180, 80 meters is used to plant vegetables. So the remainder we use to plant fruits. So 180 minus 80 will obviously give me 100. So 100 meters cubed would be B. All right. Different question, similar approach. And that is the thing. That is why, it's good to practice a lot. So in a rectangular plot, 15 meters long and 12 meters wide, an area of 80 meters squared is used for a vegetable garden. What area of the plot is not used for vegetable gardening? So once again, we find the total area of the plot, which is 15 meters times 12 meters. When we do our math, we know this will give us 180 meters squared. So if 80 is used for vegetable garden, we just minus 80. This will give us 100 meters squared is not used, so this is B. We're looking at some CXC maths, CSEC maths, right? CSEC maths, CSEC Mathematics multiple choice. How long have you been live? Yeah, I'll do it on the Friday. How did the week of exams how did the week of exams have you all? I'll enjoy the exams. How was it? Which one was the hardest? Which one was the easiest? Which exam spile your week? Which exam spile your week? And which exam made your week? Let me see. Take taxi in maths spile the year, maths, all the exam. That is not good. IT? I saw a person saying IT was good, man. Science, YouTube saying science and maths, POB, here the leak. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, folks. People ask me what are my thoughts on the leak? What are my thoughts on the leak? And what are my thoughts on this here? And what are my thoughts on that? I'll share my thoughts after the exam. I practice what I preach. I would tell my students, focus on the exam ahead of you. Don't focus on things you can't control. If the exam was leaked, you have no control of what will happen. You have control of what you will write on the paper. So I will share my thoughts after the exam is done and after, because I don't want to add to anybody's stress. I don't want to, cause you to worry unnecessarily. Well, me as an individual. So my advice to you, my thoughts and leak, focus on the exam ahead. Don't focus on things you can't control. Right? Don't focus on things you can't control. Famo, let me say this back so I'll come back and screen record this and put this on my WhatsApp. Let me say it back. These are my thoughts on the leak and the maths exam. Focus on the future. Focus on the exams that you have coming up and not on the past. It makes no sense worrying about leaks. And I'll come back and screen record that. Anyways, so item 39 refers to the following table, which shows the number of books 58, well, the number of books 58 students bought at a sale. The mode number of books bought is, so the mode number of books, so which book students in the most number of students bought? So we see 13 students bought 5 books. So the mode number of books bought would be 5 because 13 students bought them. So this answer here is A. Some students would while up and go and put 13, but 13 is the amount of people that bought the books. The mode number of books, the answer has to come from the number of books. Don't while up and go and put 13, right? Don't while up and put 13. Don't while up at all. All right, I think I'll end off somewhere wrong here and wrap up. So item 39 refers to the following, which shows the number of books that 58 students bought at the sale. The more number of books bought, we did this just now. This is at a different year. More number of books bought is 5. The median number of books bought at the sale is, so median would be the middle number. See if you got 58 students, the median would be n plus 1 divided by 2. So this would be 58 plus 1 divided by 2. This would be 59 divided by 2. This is like I got 60 divided by 2. It would be 30. So 59 divided by 2 would be 29.5. So 29.5. This is basically telling me between the 29th number and the 30th number, I can find the median. So I have to find which is the 29th number and the 30th number and add them together and divide it by 2. So let me see. So I got 9 and 9, 18. So I didn't reach 29 as yet. 18 and 13. 18 and 13 would be 18 plus 13. This would be 2, 32. So the median would fall right in between here, right? When I reach the 30th number will be 5. Well, the 29th number would be 5, and the 30th number would be 5. So the median will fall right in between here. 5 and 5 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is simply 5. So B is the answer there. I'll make breakfast in the morning, I promise. We're on the wrong side of TikTok, by oh my. Let me block this account. My oh my. Wrong side of TikTok, boy. Oh my. How did we get there? Why? Oh me, oh my. $15 is toward one. Either way, so toward one, either way, the median will still fall there, right? Because the 29th number would be the same 5, and the 30th number would be 5. Say it doesn't matter. As long as we want the 29th and the 30th number. So that won't really matter. I mean, it's a simple mistake, but it won't affect the answer. Anyways, so last one for the night. Last one for the night. Item 39 reports the following scores, which are obtained by 11 students in a competition. The modal score is, so the modal score, I can already see that 3 occurs a lot. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 trees. So we got, if you put in R, it would be easier, right? So you put in R, so 3, 3, 3, 3, and I got 5, and I got 6, 6, and I got 7, and I got 8, 8. And then I got 11. So 3 is obviously the mode. So that's the answer there. 3. The modal score, the one that occurs the most. So we can stop here for tonight. As every night I'll try to go live, right? Every night I'll try to go live. So if you're not following the account, ensure you follow so that you don't miss. I started a good while ago. I started like an hour ago, right? So if you're now joining, well, you missed the first part. All right, so the rest of the live is on YouTube. You can check it out on